confidence is extremely important to success.
Very.
Yet it offends people, doesn't it?
Sometimes, but it usually offends the ones that lack confidence.
There it is.
It's they see confidence in you and they kind of get upset at you because they don't possess it. And or they were raised in a way that you're supposed to stay humble and you're supposed to be quiet and you're supposed to fly under the radar and just kind of, lay low. But, I found that doesn't work as well. I think you should do the opposite. I think you should, exude confidence. I think that you should believe in yourself. I think that you should be heard, and I think you should ultimately, plant your flag and kick the door in like you own the place and roll out like you sold it.
Well, isn't it, nobody's ever said, like, when they look at somebody that's extremely not confident, and they're like, yeah, man, I like that guy. Yeah. Or I like that person. I want more of that.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen. But I would say that confidence is extremely attractive.
Why are you attracted to me?
Here we go, baby. I'm going to give you a hit right there for that one. But I think confidence is a skill too. I mean, you kind of got to practice it, right?
I don't know if it's a skill. I think it's more of a trait, but I think, doing the work and becoming skilled contributes to it for sure.
Well, and I love Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. I love him. And he talks about confidence a lot. As one of my favorite things that he says is, do not allow my confidence to offend you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, there was a couple of sound bites that I want to come to that were on that your team put out, which is fantastic. But you were talking about confidence. I don't remember where I heard it from recently. You were like, why would you not want to have a high opinion of yourself? Right? Like, I mean, how can you be good at anything if you think negatively or down about yourself?
Well, it's all mindset. And, we're taught to stay humble and, not be confident and not to openly believe in ourselves. So again, I think the clip that you saw is I'm like, I was talking on the balcony about, how people get offended because you think you look good or you think you are good, and that offends people. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, are you arrogant? Like what? No, it's not arrogance. It's certainty, and not only that, it's like if more people learn to like themselves, they wouldn't be so worried about what everybody else thinks of them. And that's where I'm at. I know I'm a good dude. I always say I'm probably the closest thing to an angel walking the planet. I'm serious. I don't do anything bad. I don't think bad. I wake up every day grateful to be here. I think all day long, how can I help people? You could call me a servant, if you will. How can I help people? People think I'm a top sales guy in the world. Well, I am, but I don't sell anybody anything. I just help people. So I say, I'm not a salesperson. I'm a help person.
Yeah.
How do I help you? If I don't think my product or service or whatever it is I'm selling you will help you, I wouldn't sell it to you. So I'm not selling you. I'm just helping you. And I think my energy is a little bit different than most salespeople, because when they try to sell you, they're trying to get something, commission, for themselves. They're trying to sell you something ultimately for themselves. I don't do that. I am not trying to sell you for me in any way. And I think that energy transfers as trust, and trust is very important to sales.
Well, it's, there's, I don't even know how many thousands or tens of thousands of hours of you on the internet that lives out there. But like, how close would you say, because I'm fortunate to know you on a little bit more of a personal level. I've seen you around your family, kids have hung out and everything else. What would you say is probably the most misjudged thing about you from people that only know you from YouTube or Instagram or one of those platforms?
Misjudged? I don't know.
Because they don't see you bring all your daughters and wife flowers when you get home from a road trip. They don't see that.
Well, I mean, doesn't everybody?
No, they don't. It takes a lot of thought to do that. I can promise you, because I do it, and it requires me thinking about it, being intentional about it to do it.
Well, when you focus on strengthening things that you want to grow and develop, like a marriage or relationships with your kids, and you're focused on it, you see flowers, they like flowers. If you're thoughtful, it's easy.
I think that's where kind of where I was getting at, though. What you focus on grows, right? What you focus on grows. So when you focus on all the things that are going wrong in your life, you probably attract a lot more of that type of stuff. Versus if you're focused on all the things that are going right in your life. So there was actually a sales tactic that maybe I got it right here. Tell me what you think of this. I don't know if you've seen it, but I think I saved it in my phone. So check this out. You're not listening on the phone, so I'm going to play it to the mic, but it's going to be loud. So, all right, tell me what you think about this one.
Okay.
On a scale from 1 to 10, do you guys know how to do the 1 to 10 close? On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being we're moving forward, 1 being you hate me and you never want to talk to me again. Where are we at right now with this program? So let's say they say 6, and you're like, all right, 1 out of 1. And then they tell you all the reasons that this is good. And you're like, got it. So then what would it take to get to a 10? A lot of times they don't have anything. They're like, it's like, all right, well, it sounds like it's not about the program. So what are you afraid of having happen? And so then that gets you to sidestep so you can go straight to the issue. And obviously if they do give you something that gets you to 10, most times it's like, oh, I just didn't tell you that. We have that. My bad. That's on me. So are we feeling 10-ish now? Great, let's go.
He's a hell of a marketer, that's for sure. However, the 1 to 10 type of close, I think what it's good for is to identify and isolate the person's objection, because it's hard to get past an objection if you don't know what it is. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being totally against it, 10 being you're ready to move forward, where would you say we are right now? They say a 6. Well, again, they could say a million things. And the way Alex serves it up, it sounds really good, but it's not always in reality what happens. So it's hypothetical. It's a good, technique to smoke out the real objection. But if you want to close a deal, when you close a deal, by the way, it's moving them from a no to a yes. So if they're not moving forward, and he says on a scale of 1 to 10, where are we? He says, well, we're at a 6. And you say, well, what would make it a 10? They might say, well, I got to think about it. Mm-hmm. Well, then what?
From then, I'm saying, well, cool. Then what is it we're thinking about?
But what he just said isn't going to work then.
Right.
So there's a lot of things they can say that doesn't work. So I don't really believe in teaching people word tracks because they get uncomfortable and they don't understand how many ways it can go wrong, which then causes them to get a little bit nervous and start like getting antsy, and that deteriorates the key of what you're trying to accomplish, which is build trust.
Right.
Because if I see you getting all nervous and, why are you nervous? You're nervous because you don't know what to say now, because that's not what the word track I was supposed to say. So if you just keep it real, what are you trying to do with the 1 to 10 or any other word track? You're trying to smoke out the real objection. That's the key. Identify and isolate the objection and then close with logic. If you're able to close the deal, all deals aren't closable.
What's the all objections lead back to basically 4 things, which is price, spouse, time, or belief. And if you can isolate the objective and filter it back to that bucket, you can probably figure out a way to figure out if the person actually needs whatever it is that you're thinking that they need, right? Because at the end of the day, you got to solve their problem.
Yeah, but I think it's too late at this point if you're in the close. I mean, you're supposed to build value along the way. You're supposed to have a conversation, find out all the things you need to know in order to build value in the product or service. So by the time this happens and now they're saying, I don't believe you, well, you screwed up earlier.
Right.
Because again, if you want to sell somebody anything, all you have to do is raise the value of your product or service above the value they have on their money. An exchange is made every time. If I said, I'll sell you this watch for $20, it's a sale. Why? Well, because this watch is worth way more than $20.
Yeah.
You don't have to like me. You don't have to do anything, but you do have to trust that it's real. You do have to trust that trust is what you're trying to establish.
Right.
And the way you build trust is to ultimately get the information through a conversation, find out what they value. So when I build my value, there's a step, building value. when I build the value in my product or service, I already know if you want it and you need it. If you didn't, I wouldn't be trying to sell it to you. I'd switch to something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't get me into sales, bro, because this is my expertise.
I agree. Well, I mean, the reason I was bringing all those things up is because it kind of goes back into, again, your authenticity and the fact that like things have happened good for you in your life. As a matter of fact, there was a video that basically broke the internet years ago. You remember this video where they had all these kids that were going to race, and they put them all on the starting line. And before they started the race, the guy said, "Hey, if you grew up in a family with both parents, take 2 steps forward. If you never missed a meal as a child, take 2 steps forward." And basically, they were just highlighting all the quote unquote advantages that some people get versus others. But the rules of the race are the same once the gun fires and you go, and the winner, who crossed the finish line first, wins. You didn't grow up rich, right? You grew up the same as everybody else. You probably you didn't have the most things in class. You showed me your childhood home. There was nothing crazy special about it. So, but you could be the victim and say, well, that guy had more than I did growing up, but you've bypassed most of the people you probably grew up with, if not all of them, right?
I haven't kept up with all of them, but let's say yes.
So what would, this is what makes you unique, man. And this is what kind of drew me to you when I first met you in the first place, it was just like, man, like that guy just don't have any excuses. He don't even take time to think of an excuse. He's thinking of a solution right now. And then you have a knack for doing things extremely fast and what you call easy. I can tell you what you do on social, what you do with your podcast, the businesses you've built ain't easy. I can promise, because I've built some that weren't as good or haven't achieved those things yet. And I know how long and how hard we worked to get there, right? So, but I think that's part of your magic. We were talking about something in the world of real estate the other day, and you said, yeah, man, just take a look, because knowing my luck, it'll be perfect. Dude, nobody says that. Most people say, knowing my luck, it'll suck. You know what I mean?
Well, they need to fix that.
But don't you agree? Like, you hear people like that. You help people like that all the time.
I help people?
You help people overcome that same type mindset all the time.
Well, I try to, because I think it boils down to your mindset, your skill set, or your habits.
Mm-hmm.
So if you show me somebody with a poor mindset, then it's very difficult to show them how to get the skills, because they're so negative and, self-destructive. They can't do it long enough to get good.
Mm-hmm.
Getting good at anything just takes practice, right?
Well, the right type of practice, for sure.
It just takes practice. Obviously, if you're practicing wrong, you're going to do it wrong. But I mean,
that's how you build confidence,
to get
right?
good at anything, you just practice.
Yeah.
You take the time, put in the work, and practice, and you get good. And then your confidence goes up because you've put in the work.
Yeah.
Most people want to avoid the work. I don't. I don't mind doing the work. Why? Well, because I realize that that's how you get good. It's how you do it. It's just like failing. I'm not afraid to fail. Failure is a part of the recipe.
Mm-hmm.
So why would I be afraid to fail if that's part of becoming successful?
Yeah.
I would embrace it.
Well, the failure is, everybody wants to get better. Like that
takes practice.
But like that loss or that failure is like if you take time to look at it and figure out what went wrong, you just got better. You now have the knowledge to practice on something to get better.
Hopefully. And
right.
If not, do it again and then do it again. I think it's my perspective that's different.
Okay.
And I don't understand why everyone doesn't see things the way I see things. But if someone were to say, Brad, what's different about you than a lot of other people? I would say the way I see things, the way I look at things, which is a perspective.
Yeah.
My perspective's unique.
Mm-hmm. You're also very aware of everything going on. As raising a 15-year-old boy, there's a lot of things he's not aware of. As I've grown in life and business, there's a lot of things I wasn't always aware of. I think that was highlighted especially in like 2023 and 2024, there was a video where Donald Trump took a drink of water and he used like both hands, and they roasted him for taking a drink of water with two hands. Ramsey said after he interviewed him, he was like, that's the most aware human being I've ever been around. He's aware of everything happening around him at any given time. And I guess you'd have to be, because there's so many eyes on you, right? So to a day in the life of Brad, like, you kind of have to be turned on all the time, right? You've achieved a certain level of success. You are a certain person to a whole lot of people, right? Self-proclaimed. But, you have to be pretty aware. That comes with great responsibility, right?
If you accept it, I suppose.
Have you accepted it, would you say?
No, it's not my responsibility.
Okay. Why not?
Because I can only control me. Like, I can't control you and him and everybody else. And if you think you can, you're crazy.
For sure.
And so I've realized I can't really control anything other than one thing, my mind.
Absolutely.
So let me just do me, try to help. Again, I think your intentions matter. Like, I'm not out trying to screw people. I'm not looking to hurt people. I'm looking to help people. And that's for real. Like, in other words, that's not saying it on the podcast and then I'm out doing the opposite. It's for real.
Yeah.
So I think when you have the right intention, it's a lot easier to not worry about these things. But it's not my responsibility if he doesn't like what I'm saying or can't grasp what I'm saying, especially with me, because I try to keep things simple. Don't you agree?
You keep things extremely simple. Yeah.
Yeah. And then some people will be like, it's more complicated than that. Well, maybe to you, but it's not more complicated than that to me. Like, for example, success. People want to be successful. Well, I think the first thing you have to do is figure out what that looks like. Most people don't. They don't take the time. They say, I just want to be rich. Well, what is rich? Because I wanted to be rich too. And then some people think I'm rich. I don't think I'm rich. I mean, I can say, yeah, I'm rich, but I'm not really. What's rich to me is what matters. It's not what's rich to everybody else. Everybody else can think I'm rich. They would be incorrect. Now, rich in what? Because again, I'm very rich in some things, but the first step to be successful is figure out what it looks like for you. Quit worrying about what everybody else thinks. A lot of people think there's a key. It's a combination. You've heard me say that. It's a combination. People are like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah. And everybody has their own. So if I go try and figure out your combination and I'm like, I'm still not happy. Well, that's because I used your combination. Like, take a moment, figure out what success looks like to you. It doesn't always have to be a massive amount of money. Now, for me, it is. I want a massive amount of money, which is why I say I'm not really as successful as everybody seems to think I am, because I still worry about money. I still focus on making more. I think success is when you don't have to anymore. Like, money is just no longer a concern at all.
Is that the definition between rich and wealth?
Again, depends on whose definition, but yeah, I mean, you could say that. To me, I used to think $1 million was all the money in the world. And then I made $1 million and it's like, well, that's not that much. If you think about it, if I handed you $1 million, you'd be a millionaire. And most people think a millionaire is like, oh, I want to be a millionaire. If you spend $1, you're no longer a millionaire. So is it really a millionaire that you want to be? No, what they want is a feeling, is a lifestyle, is a ease, is a peace, it's a comfort. And $1 million doesn't buy it. Now, could it buy it for some people? Absolutely. Depends on the person, doesn't it? So it's always an individual thing. So people need to focus on themselves. What do I believe success looks like? That's step one. You have to know what it looks like. Why would you go hunt for something you don't even know what it looks like? So figure out what success looks like. Then step two is figure out how to get it. Now, most people think that's the hard part. The hard part's figuring out what it looks like for you. Then the second part, which is to figure out how to get it, that's the easy part. You just find someone who's already got it and see what they did. Because 9 times out of 10, all you have to do is what they did. So I say building my social media was easy. Why? Well, because all I did was filmed me. Like I let a camera follow me around.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not afraid to put it out on social media, because if you really want to, build a personal brand and get Insta famous or whatever they call it, you just have to flood the internet with your face.
Mm-hmm.
But most people won't do that
Why is that?
because they're afraid of what everybody else thinks about their face.
Mm.
I don't care what you think about my face.